One of the deadliest attacks on Russian troops in Ukraine in a New Year's Day strike behind the lines has exposed Moscow's military failings in the war. A Ukrainian attack with U.S.-made rockets has killed 63 Russian soldiers, and pro-war Russians have started accusing their military commanders of repeating fatal errors. Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. People losing lives during cold weather due to lack of warm clothes and nutritious food. Government prepares to distribute 10,000 rupees to the families under the poverty line to protect themselves from the cold. India and China both keen on feasibility study for railways to connect with Kathmandu. Compensation issues hinder progress in the East-West Railway. Russia's defense ministry says 63 Russian soldiers were killed in a Ukrainian New Year's Eve attack on their quarters in the Russian-controlled part of Ukraine's Donetsk. And thousands of fans pay tribute to legendary Brazilian football star Pelé. Last rites to be performed today. FIFA president urges member nations to name stadiums under Pelé's name. Cold waves cause loss of human lives every year. The government data has shown that poor and deprived communities are worst affected by the dip in mercury and cold wave. Families who do not have adequate warm clothes and cannot afford nutritious diet suffer the most. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority, 116 people have succumbed to the cold wave in the past 11 months. Of them, 24 people had died in Rohtahat and 19 in Saptari. The cases of deaths due to excessive cold is relatively higher in Madhya province. The authority is to provide 10,000 rupees each to the families under the poverty line to protect themselves from the cold. According to meteorologists, cold wave occurs for a period of a month from January. Southern area of Sunsari, Saptari, Siraha, Dhanusha, Mohottari, Sarlahi, Rohtahat, Bara, Parsa, Nawalparasi, West and Kapilvastu are worst affected by the cold wave. 9 districts including Jhapa, Morang, Udaipur, Chitwan, Dang, Banke, Bardia, Koilali and Kanchanpur are relatively less affected. The district administration offices provide 200,000 rupees in compensation to the families of those killed due to the cold wave. If 2 people of the same family die due to the cold wave, they are provided with 300,000 rupees, while 500,000 rupees is provided in case of an additional death in the single family. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal is to take the vote of confidence on 10th of January. Prime Minister Dahal corresponded with the General Secretary of the Federal Parliament to make arrangements to take the vote of confidence on 10th of January. The first session of the House of Representatives is slated for 9th of January. Prime Minister Dahal is to expand the Council of Ministers only after receiving the vote of confidence. Dahal, who was appointed the Prime Minister with the support of 169 parliamentarians on 25th of December, had assumed his office on 26th of December. Prime Minister Dahal needs the support of 138 parliamentarians. The common minimum program to be introduced by the coalition government is more likely to be promotion-oriented than result-focused. While the parties in the ruling coalition are divided on the issues of national interest, they seem on the same page on public issues. The largest party of the ruling coalition, CPN-UML, has prioritized economic stability. However, party of the Prime Minister CPN Maoist Center has stressed on concluding issues of transitional justice. Rashtriya Swatantra Party and Rashtriya Prajatantra Party have put forward good governance and public issues. Implementation of the Constitution and development works have also been included in the basic common program. All parties have appeared united on topics including education, health, service delivery and policies. Rashtriya Swatantra Party has formed a preliminary list for the common policies and programs. The party has stressed on issues including citizenship, Nepal police, local administration, public procurement, and formulation and revision of acts. High-ranking committee for curbing corruption to arrangement of time card for government services and identity cards for poor are also in the draft of the Swatantra Party. Meanwhile, Rashtriya Prajatantra Party has prioritized curbing corruption. The task force, led by Deputy Prime Minister Bishnu Paurel, has been assigned the responsibility of formulating the draft of the government's Common Minimum Program within 4 days. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has held discussions with secretaries of all the ministries regarding their works. Prime Minister Dahal summoned the secretaries of all the ministries for the first time after assuming his post. One of the ministers who attended the meeting said the Premier gathered basic information about the working procedures of each ministry. Prime Minister Dahal has directed the secretaries to stress on the public service delivery as per the public sentiment. Meanwhile, the secretaries informed the Premier about the policy and other work-related challenges experienced by them. The Politburo meeting of CPN Unified Socialist that was called yesterday after the party's standing committee failed to reach a conclusion on joining the government. The meeting will continue today. Today's meeting will give a final decision on whether the party will join the government. Prior to this, the two-day-long Politburo meeting had failed to reach a consensus on joining the government. Members of the party seemed to have been divided into three ideas about the government. Some are in favor of joining the government, some are against the idea, while some members are in favor of remaining in the opposition. Party chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has been collecting recommendations from members and cadres of the party on the party's roadmap. Janata Samajwadi Party called for the meeting of its political committee yesterday to decide on joining the government. The meeting, which will last for 2 days, will delve into whether to join the government or extend support to the government by staying out of it. Recent political affairs, election assessment and formation of the Statute Draft Committee are to be discussed in the meeting. Janata Samajwadi Party, which has claimed 3 ministries in the federal government, is also interested in holding the Chief Minister of Madhya Province. The Janata Samajwadi Party will also discuss on topics including amendment of the Constitution, addressing citizenship issue and revising the electoral constituencies. Prior to this, Saturday's Central Working Committee meeting of the party had decided to repeat its previous demands. 6 provincial assemblies, Madhya, Bagmati, Gandaki, Lumbini, Karnali and Sudur Paschim have held their first session of the second term. Madhya Province has decided to take candidacies for the post of Speaker on 13th of January. Bagmati Province will choose its Speaker and Deputy Speaker in its second meeting of the ongoing session, scheduled for 13th of January. Elsewhere in Lumbini Province, ordinances for civil services and local services have been tabled for consideration. The next Provincial Assembly meeting has been called for 13th of January. Lumbini Province has also approved of the Province Assembly Regulation 2079 and called for its next meeting on 17th of January. Likewise, Sudur Paschim Province will hold election for the Assembly Speaker on 12th of January. The first meeting of Province 1 Assembly was held on Sunday itself. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What should the priorities of provincial assemblies be? Your options are A. Formation and implementation of laws, B. Coordination with the center and local levels, and C. Address issues concerning general public. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The Kathmandu-Kerung Railway has been in talks since the unwarranted border blockade by India back in 2015. A Chinese team has arrived in Kathmandu for feasibility study for the railway that has begun coordination with the Railway Department to prepare a detailed project report or DPR. Meanwhile, India has said it will complete the DPR for the Raxaul-Kathmandu Railway. The 35-kilometer Janakpur-Jayanagar Railway that connects Nepal with Indian Railway network is currently in operation. The East-West Railway project that the government has enlisted as a national pride project took off some 12 years ago in the Nepalese fiscal year 2066-67. A pre-feasibility study for the Kathmandu-Kerung Railway was conducted by a Chinese team that submitted a report in 2017. The DPR for the project will now conclude on the actual distance of the tunnel, height of the bridges, and stations, among others. The Chinese side plans to establish a railway that connects Tibet's capital Lhasa with border region Rasuaguri of Nepal by 2025. Works have hence been expedited. However, the pre-feasibility study has highlighted geographical challenges in the construction of the Kathmandu-Kerung railway. 98% of the total 72-kilometer railway will be tunnel and bridges. Likewise, it is yet uncertain if Nepal will share the expenses of the project or China will bear all of it as it falls under the Belt and Road Initiative. The railway budget has been estimated at 600 billion rupees with a construction period of 7 to 9 years. Meanwhile, as the Chinese team expedites its works for DPR for the project, Indian team has said it will provide the DPR for the 136-kilometer long Roxol-Kathmandu railway by April. Apart from the geopolitical interests, experts opine the railways should be prioritized by the government to boost Nepal's trade. The government has introduced a reintegration program to utilize the experience, skills and resources of Nepalese who have returned from foreign employment. The Ministry of Labor, Employment and Social Security 3 months ago had issued a directive based on which the Foreign Employment Board is implementing the program in 150 local levels across the country. The program intends to foster entrepreneurship among those who have returned from abroad. Interested candidates will need to enlist themselves in the beneficiaries list by submitting an application at the Employment Services Center. The program will look to raise the beneficiaries' financial knowledge and access and support them in becoming entrepreneurs. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what should be done to utilize the experience and skills of Nepalese who have returned from foreign employment. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सरकारले यही रोजगार दिनु छ
माछा पालन गर्नुपर्छ बकरी पालन गर्नुपर्छ यस्तो यस्तोमा उहाँहरूले आफ्नै देशमा बसी रोजगार गर्न सक्छ
उहाँहरूले गर्ने खालको उद्योग धन्दादेखि ल्याएर हरेक कुरामा चाहिँ सरकारले त्यसको चाँचो पाँचो मिलाउनु पर्छ
उनीहरूले विदेशमा जे काम गरेर आएका छन् अब त्यही काम नेपालमा दिनु पर्यो
विभिन्न कल कारखाना उद्योगहरू चाहिँ खोलेर उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ रोजगार मूलक बनाउनु पर्यो
जुन त्यहाँ उपयोग गर्छन् त्यो कुरा यही अवेलेबल गराइदिनु पर्यो
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.